Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Destiny. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we're going to compare perhaps the two strongest and most sought after kinetic SMGs in Destiny 2, and that's the cross-platform favourite, the Antiope-D and the Trials Adjudicator. Now I'll start with a straight shootout between the two, which one I prefer and all the normal stuff. But there are other things to consider as well, such as the benefits and drawbacks of using an SMG in the kinetic slot in the first place and what that does to the rest of your loadout options. Alright, let's cover what these guns actually do, how they're similar and where they differentiate themselves. The Antiope-D has two sight options, the GB Iron, which gives you better handling and slightly more range, and the SC Hollow, which gives you a lot more range at the expense of handling. Next you'll get a choice of ricochet rounds or tactical mag. Ricochet will do the obvious thing of bouncing bullets off hard surfaces as well as maintaining some of your range stat, whereas tactical mag will give you a bit more stability, a bit faster of a reload, and also increases your magazine size from 26 to 28. Next up you get one of the best perks in the entire game, and that's kill clip. This is a big reason why people love the Antiope-D. Get a kill, reload, and your damage is increased for a short time, making it even more melty than it was at base level. It's a big reason why people choose certain guns overall. The old-fashioned hand cannon turns into a 3-tap monster because of it, and it is starting to be very popular on PC. It's certainly very strong in theory, and I'll explain my more complex thoughts about it later on. The Adjudicator doesn't have a sight option, but has 3 barrel choices instead. Chambered Compensator, which prioritizes stability, Corkscrew Rifling, which extends your range, stability and increases handling, and finally Polygonal Rifling, which is optimized for recoil control. Now which one of these you'll want to use is largely determined by what platform you're playing on. SMGs in general are much easier to use and control on PC. Because of that, I tend to go for the range stat where I can. On console, that is different. Next you get a choice between Slideways, which partially reloads your magazine and gives you a stability and handling buff when you do perform a slide, or Hipfire Grip, which increases hipfire accuracy and stability. Now remember what I said about energy SMGs having better hipfire? Well, this perk brings the Adjudicator much more in line with that. It's a good perk if you use SMGs as a follow-up rushdown tool like I do. The last perk is Dynamic Sway Reduction, which means the longer that you fire, the less recoil you'll have to deal with. Now again, there are some platform specific differences. On console, people are a bit split about the Adjudicator. Some people hate the recoil, some people can get along fine with it. On PC, it's basically a non-factor. The gun is a laser beam. You'll have to test these two yourself if you're a console player to see which one of them you prefer. As I'm on PC, my decision is based on other factors. Speaking of which, SMGs in PvE. With these reviews, I like to give recommendations for both areas of play. But if I'm being honest, unless you're going for something quite specific, like the Risk Runner and Arc damage boons, with a Devour Warlock where you could technically just shoot forever against the right enemies, I have a hard time recommending any SMG, energy or kinetic for PvE. A lot of PvE can be best summed up by the following question. How many explosive scouts and rocket launchers with cluster bombs can I possibly take with me? Oh, all of the above? Sweet, I'll just do that. It's by far the easiest way to play. Can you use these guns in PvE for a bit of fun? Sure, the Antiope-D kill clip will come in more useful out of the two in that setting. But if you do that, you'll come rubbing up against kinetic SMG's biggest problems, and that's what we'll get into over the next couple of minutes. Duelist weapons. Before I list these guns' weaknesses, I'll give them a fair rap of what they're really good at. 600 RPM kinetic SMGs are absolute god tier on PC within their effective range, especially in Crucible. They will easily outmatch a hand cannon in a straight up duel up close, and that is their biggest strength. Their time to kill is just simply too fast if you're hitting all your shots. Because of that, they really are duelist weapons in the truest sense. Isolate a 1v1, control the engagement distance, and melt your enemy faster than they can believe. As previously stated, I like to use energy SMGs to break shield and then melee when pushing somebody. With these two, there's simply no need. Your enemy will already be dead if they dare to get close enough. It will at first shock you how fast people die. They are that strong. In terms of direct comparison, I find the Antiope to be ever so slightly preferable as long as I'm aiming down sight. The hipfire on it is mediocre though. The Adjudicator is better in that respect. Kill clip is the biggest separator for most people. I actually found it hard to take advantage of in Crucible, but that's not the gun's fault. It's more to do with how Destiny 2 Crucible is played. Recovery is so slow that you're more than likely going to get traded if you've taken any significant damage in your first duel, which is much more likely with an SMG as you need to be so close. You're open to melee damage, grenades, the whole 9 yards. What these guns are really good at is very quickly winning a 1v1 at the right range. At that, they're almost without peer. As such, it's much more a decision about which you prefer in terms of recoil and controllability. On PC, I found both very usable, but tended to like the Adjudicator for its better hipfire should the need arise. That is obviously totally up to you. I do think on console the Antiope is clearly the better weapon. It is much easier to use on a controller. As for what's not ideal about these weapons, I have rather a lot to say. Using a Kinetic SMG has a clear strength. However, good players will wise up and play on the back foot to counter you. It can be difficult to get into the areas where these guns excel, especially against teams. That's not so much of a problem if you're using an SMG as a secondary backup. That's why I use SMGs the way I do in Crucible. I usually start a fight with a hand cannon and then go in for a quick kill. But because these two guns are kinetic, you're cutting yourself off from some of the best guns in the game. The Better Devils, the Mida, the Nameless, the Old Fashioned, the list just goes on. Sure, there are amazing energy weapons you could partner them with. The Sunshot, the Manan, the Uriel's Gift. You can certainly do well with these SMGs. I just feel there are better kinetic options despite how good these guns are at their jobs. There's also the fact that these guns will be next to useless against supers or shields in PvE. I like to run hand cannon SMG in Crucible. When a super is called in, I defensively nade, jump away and spray with my energy SMG. It does the trick most times. If your energy option is flipped and you have a scout or a hand cannon, you better hope a super isn't used at anything like close range. If you are close, you'll likely have your Kinetic SMG out and you'll probably die before you get to swap out again. To me, there's simply too many compromises for me to use them on a regular basis. That is a personal thing, obviously. It might just be a case of them not fitting me very well, but I always do better with my SMGs in the energy slot because of all these factors. Not to mention there are energy SMGs that you can elect to change to 600 RPM with the phase magazine perk if you want the duelist weapon, like the stochastic variable or the out of options. In conclusion, which should you choose? If you're on console, the Antiope is the winner. If you're on PC, either is very strong but in different ways. But on both platforms there are drawbacks which in my opinion make them second tier Crucible weapons. Sad as that is to say. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in good company. And finally, please check out our Twitters where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time,